calling you a radical. So this is an historic book. I've always been going to write this book. So this is it. I rely on public donations. So this is the hijacking of the Mariner Eccles, Federal Reserve, and Rand Greenspan's Zion. So I'm going to school here. I'm teaching here. We're the #1 undergrad program in the United States. #1 in the country. So I work for a hedge fund, a derivative arbitrage. The legendary finance professor, Dr. Clyde Cooley, runs the entire school. University of Chicago guy. I have the last letter of recommendation he ever wrote. It's in there. So I'm a student professor here, going to school. So, Mariner Eccles, friends with my family. My Uncle Al, the movie star, he and them grew up together, best friends, the Hunsaker fortune. My Uncle Al inherited the whole thing. I didn't get any, they were socialists. But anyway, Mariner Eccles, First Security Bank, the biggest holding company in the world, who is the Federal Reserve, who is, John Maynard Keynes says, I don't know why you call it Maynard Keynes in economics, it's Mariner Eccles economics, the World Bank, the great socialist. I'm talking to the new 15th dean since Clyde died here, and I says, you're an economist from Florida? Well, you know Mariner called him the great socialist. Woo, good. Now they're all supply chain Chinese on the death of Dr. Cooley. So, again, via Mariner Eccles, we couldn't have an MBA program here because it went through Utah State. That's his place where he was born, but he ran everything in Ogden. You know, all roads lead to Ogden. So the Federal Reserve was ran completely. When the world crashed, Mariner Eccles ran the entire Federal Reserve from 1932 clear to 1987 when Ayn Rand, science fiction Greenspan. I remember the day that he was named, I was here. I felt like I was shot in the gut. So Clyde Cooley, this is the #1 finance school in the country, maybe in the world. Everybody, elitist school. I went here, I taught here. Now it's a joke. So First Securities, the monster beast, the incredible holding company, that's Mariner's baby. Mariner Eccles had a son named Campbell Eccles and his daughter. Campbell ran the Benlow, my daughter runs it now, you know, his hotel where they're letting it go to shit because the Eccles family don't give a fuck. He left $1 billion endowment when he died for suicide and alcohol prevention for the people of North, because that's what happened to his son and daughter, because he had gotten remarried in D.C., the muck. His family, or not his family, the Spencer Eccles is, and I know Spencer personally very well. Les Tracy, my uncle, and he really close. I mean, long story, they're Ogdenites. Deathbed repentance, last time I saw him was in the temple when I was walking through Memory Grove with my central line hanging out of my jugular vein full of cancer, like E.O. Wattis. E.O. Wattis, 3 days after they got the contract to build Hoover Dam, Utah Construction, the same clan, died of leukemia, jumping up and down his wealth for a charity, who built the nuclear industry, the great war profiteers. But Mariner was the banking guy who scooped it all up in this great junction city. Built this empire, the big banking giant empire called First Security Bank. He died in '87. And Ring Greenspan took over the Fed. The rest is dead as hell science fiction history. No debt. By the way, Volcker was an Eccles economist. The last one, he just died. He spoke here. Dr. Christensen, so we would always test #1. We'd beat Wharton, Trump school. We were our sister school. We'd go to Wharton, they'd come here teach. Dr. Christensen from Harvard, he just passed. He used to come here and speak. I mean, it was an elite school. I have the last recommendation. What happened to you, Kevin Blanche? Why are you not a gazillion? Hey, well, something happened while I got cancer. I was uninsured. So, Dr. Cooley, finally we get an MBA program in 2000. It's going to start in '99. I come back to get the first MBA 2 weeks before first class. The great socialist, the greatest finance professor in the country gets mad cow. They burn mad cow in Bountiful at Stair Cycle. Eats his brain out, kills him. Kyle Madsen, I step in. I'm running the whole MBA program. Kyle Madsen gets lung cancer. Warren Buffett rolls in, donates a bunch of stock via Bill Child and hijacked our old school. I used to fly in his Learjet to Omaha. You know, they hijacked and turned into a Chinese slave camp, direct fucking marketing for R.C. Willey. They bought it out and destroyed it, gutted it, the #1 finance. So, Mariner, what happened? In the 90s, Clyde Cooley was hired to do the due diligence on the fire sale of First Security Bank. Stock's trading at $64 a share. So, it's trading at this monster price. In the 90s, this shirt, 95. I worked for Ron Baglin at the time, the best basketball team they ever had. By the way, bought right there, made in the U.S.A. So, best team they ever had. Ruben Nemhart, by far. So, He does the due diligence. The stock's going to sell to Zion Bank, the Mormon Church Bank. In fact, what? No. They back out. The stock crashes. By the way, Zion Bank under the, I taught the banking class here. I taught it. I tripped all these auditors. I'm the one that taught all these auditors when they took Barnes Bank down. When Zion's was leveraged up 5 times even worse. How come they didn't take it down? Too big to fail. Mormon Church freaking back? Oh yeah. So I'm like, Clyde, what happened? What happened? So I'm doing the due diligence. The stock, they back out of the sell at $64. Then there's a renegotiation. It's renegotiated at $42. Then it's renegotiated at, what the fuck? Next thing you know, it fire sells to who? Wells Fargo. Orchestrated by the fucking ray gun and Rand Greenspan for what? $10, $11, $12, $13 a share? What the fuck? Clyde, what the fuck? Kevin, I can't tell you, but it's fucking bad. I mean, the corruption, the fraud, the endowment, $1 billion endowment has disappeared off this campus. Nobody gets it. They took it to Park City and dole it out to their fucking friends illegally. Talk to the fuckhead scumbag grant writer. Desiree Littlefield, the nuclear cartel. Same thing with the Wattis Foundation. They're the nuclear industry. So Mariner, the great socialist. I told the new dean in here about the fifth one. I says, he called himself, oh no. I went and got his autographed copy of his book, his biography, and laid it down right there. What does it say? Beau goosey. That's the French word for the middle. For I am the great socialist. My father, the robber baron, David Eccles, would roll over in his grave, sponsored by the Queen. His words, not mine. And Rand Greenspan takes over and freaking turns this into debtor's hell. Remember, Volcker raised the interest rate up. There was no inflation, no debt. Now look at it. The rest is fucking Ayn Rand, Greenspan, science fiction, economics, fucking debtor's hell. What happened, Clyde? Oh, the corruption's so over the top. It's so bad. Remember, Spencer Eccles, who has all his money now, the third, and these are not his children. His children died. Dead. They're not his heirs. They stole it all. They stole it. The greatest economist in fucking, he was a Hamiltonian. Hamilton, the greatest economist who ever lived? Yeah. Second, Mariner Eccles? Oh yeah. Not my words. Tugwell at Columbia. Tugwell says, why do I get word for the New Deal? Oh no, that was Mariner Eccles right here. By the way, Zion bought it. Remember this. Zion Bank. Zion Energy. That's the Bush family. Ties right here. Ask Auburn North. Partners with who? The Bushes. What? May Brussels, 1980. Kids, the Bush CIA's taken over the White House. They will never leave. First thing they do is whack Reagan. What? Hinckley did that? Zion Energy? This is my favorite. Jeb Bush in the debate. We're going to take Hamilton. Why would you take the great socialist, the great economist of all time, that man who made this country, who it is? Hamilton. Off the currency. Who are you going to replace it with? And Trump's racist, his racist, this Pocahontas stuff is so over the top and disgusting. Asking all the candidates, who are you going to replace it with? We're going to put a woman on there. Margaret Thatcher. You think that's a Freudian slip? U.K. took over the banking. Rothschild? Rockefeller? No. The Russell Trust? Oh yeah. What was his name? Rhodesia. Cecil Rhodes come true. The hijacking of the Eccles banking gigantic fortune. I taught the banking class here. I did the due diligence. I'm like, what the fuck? Clyde's like, I can't tell you, but it's so corrupt. They fire sold it to who? Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo on the bailout. This is how it works post 1987, after they took Volcker out and replaced him with Ayn Rand. Volcker, the Eccles economist. I knew Mariner personally. The billionaire. He used to call me and my twin sister Hansel and Gretel. I sat with Mariner right here when I was an 8-year-old boy with Al Hunsaker. Yeah, the actor. You say I can't have children. Beautiful, best looking dude you ever seen and his beautiful wife. Can't have children. I got gonorrhea from Marita Dietrich at an orgy in L.A. His beautiful, incredible wife. He'd say Brigham Young was nothing but a sex fiend. He was a freaking CIA plant. And she'd say, you should know. You would know. And he says, oh, I do know. Billionaires. I didn't inherit any of the billions. They were the richest people here, the line that came to found the Golden Settlers Mill. It all ties together. I'm going to write a book. This is a book. So, Zion's Ayn Rand Greenspan. So they steal $60 billion in fake accounts. They pay back $3 billion, then go back through a secret backdoor Trump, Obama, Bush bailout, which Trump just bailed out the nuclear industry for the tune of $1 trillion and gets $6 billion. Same with Radio Roundup, Hitler's company. It's the same old thing. And you're all in. I'm going to write a book. This is a book about Mariner Eccles, who I knew personally. He used to call himself the great socialist. I have an autographed copy of his biography that he gave me personally. You know, and I knew him personally. But my grandpa was, you know, Abraham IV, my grandfather. Didn't believe in inherited wealth. He was orphaned. Abe III was electrocuted. Clyde Cooley died of mad cow. The #1 school business in the country was hijacked and taken over by who? Warren Buffett. How'd Warren Buffett do it? He did it with R.C. Willey's. Bill Childs took it over. He wanted to develop a line with Governor through Utah for economic development supply chain from China to get his goods in here from slave camps. Clyde Cooley would have none of it. Carl Madsen got free. I taught the class. They railroaded me for going after this and exposing. Now, look it up. She says, teaches my old class, don't go see the Dalai Lama. They rank dead last. We go from the #1 school business in the United States to dead fucking last in 20 years. The great legendary finance man Clyde Cooley, University of Chicago, just like Fawn McKay Brody, University of Chicago, where she did all that work. You know, right here, right here, right here. So this is the book. I've always been going to wait. I'm just going to write it. You know, and this, I'll keep going. I got a lot of books, as you can see. You can put them together, paste them together. You can build a list. You know, I'm overwhelmed if you can't tell. Cancer destroyed my